Well, we begin with breaking news and a dramatic escalation in fighting in Ethiopia. At least 3 rockets have been fired from Ethiopia into Eritrea, potentially widening the conflict. Diplomats in the region say 2 of the rockets hit the main airports in Eritrea's capital, Asmara. It comes on the 11th day of fighting between Ethiopian government forces and leaders in the Tigray region. The Tigrayan People's Liberation Front had earlier threatened Eritrea.
We will conduct missile attacks to foil military movements in Massawa and Asmara. We will undertake every other kind of measure to foil efforts to subjugate the Tigray people inside Tigray or other places.
Well, the TPLF have also admitted that they struck first, which prompted Ethiopia to launch that offensive in the region. They've also said they were behind 2 rocket attacks on 2 airports in the neighbouring Amhara region. Both sides are accused of atrocities.
The UN's refugee agency says a major emergency is brewing, with more than 10,000 people fleeing fighting in northern Ethiopia, crossing the border into Sudan. Federal troops have claimed advances in the week-long conflict in Tigray, where Prime Minister Abiy Ahmed accused forces loyal to defiant local leaders of attacking the army. On Thursday, Abiy said Ethiopia's military had defeated local soldiers in western Tigray. Ethiopian television has broadcast footage said to be of federal commandos and soldiers in control of Humera Airport in the west. Balay Saum is the recently appointed commander of the Northern Command. Abiy has also accused his enemies of committing atrocities, saying some of his soldiers have been found shot dead with their arms and legs tied behind their backs.
Al-Qaeda's second-in-command is said to have been killed in Iran back in August by Israeli operatives at the behest of the United States, according to a report by the New York Times. Abdullah Ahmed Abdullah, also known as Abu Mahmoud al-Masri, was seen as a likely successor to Al-Qaeda's current leader, Ayman al-Zawahiri. He was also accused of helping to mastermind the 1998 bombings of 2 US embassies in Africa. The Times reported that he was gunned down by 2 men on a motorcycle in the streets of Tehran on August 7th, and that the killing was kept secret until now. A senior Afghan security source told Reuters in October that Masri, who has long been on the US FBI's most wanted terrorist list, had been killed in Tehran, but Reuters could not corroborate that information.
Soldiers who died in a helicopter crash in Egypt this week have been identified, and one of them is from our area. The helicopter crashed on Thursday in Sinai, killing 31-year-old Captain Seth Vandekamp of Katy. We're told this is his first assignment overseas. He and 4 others are part of the multinational peacekeeping force operating in Egypt. International authorities say the crash was caused by technical issues and involved a Black Hawk helicopter that was on a supplying mission. 1 American survived the crash. The incident remains under investigation.
German prosecutors have charged at least 12 men for plotting well-funded armed attacks on mosques. 10 of them have been detained, while 1 suspect is on the run. Another suspect is said to have killed himself while in police custody. The men, who belonged to far-right groups, wanted to kill as many Muslims as possible, quote-unquote. According to the authorities, the suspects plan to create civil war-like conditions through these mosque attacks. The suspects, who comprised 11 gang members and an accomplice, met regularly. 11 of them even pledged to contribute $59,000 to finance weapons purchase. All suspects, aged between 31 and 61, are Germans.
Defiant supporters of US President Donald Trump held a rally in Washington on Saturday, a week after the presidential race was called for Democrat Joe Biden. They expressed their support for Trump as they marched to the Supreme Court to protest the election results and falsely assert the vote was stolen. The demonstrations in Washington turned violent on Saturday when Trump supporters clashed with counter-protesters. 20 arrests were made and 2 officers were injured. The rally, labelled by Trump supporters on social media as the Million MAGA March, used the acronym for his Make America Great Again slogan. So far, the president has refused to concede his election loss. But election officials said Friday that the vote was the most secure in American history, the strongest direct rebuttal from federal and state authorities yet of the president's claims.
Even Brazilians have a difficult time keeping track of so many names. 19,000 candidates are running for mayor and 500,000 for city council in more than 5,000 cities. That's why some have adopted monikers to help them stand out. For the first time in history, more than half of the candidates are black. More than 30% are women, and there are 3 times more transsexuals running for office than 3 years ago. Recent polls show Bolsonaro's popularity declining, mainly because the government reduced by half the $110 monthly emergency aid, which is being distributed since the beginning of the pandemic.
In Mexico, the staggering numbers are a reminder of the human cost of the pandemic. More than 1 million people have now been infected with the COVID-19 virus. Official figures say nearly 100,000 people have died, the 4th highest in the world after the United States, India and Brazil. Having partially lifted restrictions, the authorities in Mexico City have clamped down again, closing bars and restaurants for 15 days. The measures come after hospital admissions in the capital and surrounding areas rose from 20 to more than 100 a day. The battle against the pandemic is being fought in the context of continuing violence across Mexico, both criminal and political. These residents in Veracruz demanding justice after their mayor was kidnapped and killed.
In an attempt to reduce greenhouse gas emissions, the United Kingdom is all set to put a ban on the sales of new petrol and diesel cars from the year 2030. The UK's Prime Minister Boris Johnson is likely to make an announcement on the ban in the coming few days. Britain had originally planned to ban the sale of new petrol and diesel-powered cars from 2040. According to latest reports, PM Johnson is now expected to move the date forward to 2030. To give an impetus to the emerging electric car market and push Britain towards its climate goal. The new ban will not be applied to some hybrid cars which use a mixture of electric and fossil fuel propulsion. The government is expected to keep a less stringent date of 2035 for the sale of these hybrid cars.
The moment of unveiling. The lid carefully removed to reveal the mummy inside. It's part of a treasure trove of antiquities newly discovered in the necropolis of Saqqara. More than 100 intact ancient coffins belonging to top officials of the late and Ptolemaic period of ancient Egypt were on display. It's just the latest discovery in a series of archaeological finds at the site, which include Memphis, Egypt's ancient capital, and home to the famed Jazeera pyramid. The ruins there designated a UNESCO World Heritage Site in the 1970s. Besides the mummies and sarcophagi, more than 40 statues of ancient gods and funerary masks were uncovered. Archaeologists working at the site are searching for an ancient coffin manufacturing workshop.
الفندق مسكين خلاص. باقي تقرع والله. اسمع هذه ده ابو بدر.